Steve Harvey had hosted Family Feud for over a decade and thought he'd seen everything possible on the show. But when 82-year-old grandmother Evelyn stepped up to the podium, she did something that had never been accomplished in game show history. It was Friday, September 8, 2023. During a special Generations episode of Family Feud at the Atlanta studios, the Mitchell family from Memphis, Tennessee was representing 4 generations of women. From 82-year-old matriarch Evelyn Mitchell down to her 19-year-old great-granddaughter Maya. Evelyn Mitchell moved slowly across the Family Feud stage using a beautiful hand-carved walking cane that had belonged to her own grandmother. At 82, she was the oldest contestant to ever appear on the show, and her family had initially worried that the excitement and pressure might be too much for her. What nobody knew was that Evelyn Mitchell was about to accomplish something that would redefine what was possible on Family Feud. During the family introductions, Evelyn had charmed everyone in the studio with her quiet dignity and sharp wit. When Steve Harvey asked her about her age, she had replied with a smile, "Mr. Steve, I'm 82 years young, and I've been watching your show since you started hosting it. I told my grandbabies that if I ever got on this show, I was going to show them how it's done." The audience had laughed warmly, but most people assumed Evelyn was just being playful. After all, Family Feud is a fast-paced game that typically favors quick reflexes and contemporary cultural knowledge. Not exactly the strengths most people associate with octogenarians. Steve had been charmed by Evelyn's confidence, but privately wondered how she would handle the pressure of the buzzers, the time limits, and the rapid-fire nature of the game. He was about to find out that underestimating Evelyn Mitchell was a mistake. The Mitchell family had played competently through the first few rounds, with Evelyn contributing solid answers and providing steady encouragement to her younger family members. She showed no signs of being overwhelmed by the lights, cameras, or audience energy. But it was during the 4th round that Evelyn's true abilities began to show. When asked to name something people collect, Evelyn had buzzed in with lightning-fast reflexes that surprised everyone and answered memories. It wasn't an answer that was on the board, but one that Steve praised as beautiful and poetic. "Grandmother Evelyn," Steve had said approvingly, "you've got some wisdom. I can tell you've lived a full life." "Mr. Steve, I haven't just lived a full life," Evelyn had replied with a twinkle in her eye. "I've been paying attention the whole time." The Mitchell family had won their game and advanced to fast money with a solid performance. The family decided that Evelyn's daughter, Caroline, would go first, followed by Evelyn herself. A decision that surprised some viewers who expected the family to put their youngest, quickest member in the pressure position. Caroline had performed well in her fast money round, scoring 164 points and leaving Evelyn needing just 36 points to win the $20,000 prize. It seemed like an achievable goal that wouldn't put too much pressure on the elderly matriarch. Steve walked over to Evelyn at the fast money podium, noting how calm and composed she appeared despite the high-stakes situation. "Grandmother Evelyn, your family needs 36 points to win $20,000, Steve announced. "Are you ready to bring it home for the Mitchell women?" Evelyn adjusted her glasses, gripped her cane with one hand, and smiled at Steve with complete confidence. "Mr. Steve, I've been ready for this moment longer than you might think." Steve began Evelyn's fast money round, and what happened next defied every expectation and assumption about age, reflexes, and game show performance. "Name a job that requires you to wear a uniform," Steve read from his card. "Police officer," Evelyn answered instantly. "Name something you might find in a kitchen junk drawer," Steve continued. "Rubber bands," Evelyn replied without hesitation. "Name a reason why someone might be late for work," Steve went on. "Traffic jam," Evelyn responded immediately. "Name something people do when they can't sleep," Steve asked. "Count sheep," Evelyn answered quickly. "Name a place where you might see a long line," Steve concluded. "The bank," Evelyn replied confidently. Steve looked down at his card to calculate Evelyn's score, expecting a respectable but modest total that would secure the family's victory. But as he added up the points, his expression changed from casual interest to confusion to absolute amazement. "Grandmother Evelyn," Steve said slowly, looking back and forth between his card and the elderly woman standing confidently at the podium. "I need to tell you something that I've never had to tell anyone in over a decade of hosting this show." The studio audience sensed that something extraordinary was happening. Evelyn waited patiently, her hands folded calmly over her cane. "You just scored 200 points in fast money," Steve announced, his voice filled with disbelief. The audience gasped audibly. Evelyn's family members began screaming and crying. But Steve wasn't finished. "Grandmother Evelyn, do you understand what you just accomplished?" Steve asked, then turned to address the studio audience and the cameras, his voice filled with awe and respect. "Ladies and gentlemen, in the entire 47-year history of Family Feud, across all hosts and all versions of the show, only 7 people have ever achieved a perfect 200-point score in Fast Money. And Grandmother Evelyn, at 82 years old, just became the 8th person to do it." The studio erupted in the loudest, longest-standing ovation in Family Feud history. People were crying, cheering, and applauding with an intensity that reflected the magnitude of what they had just witnessed. But Steve still wasn't finished explaining the full scope of Evelyn's achievement. "But here's what makes this even more incredible," Steve continued. "Grandmother Evelyn is not just the oldest person to ever achieve a perfect Fast Money score. She's older than the previous 7 record holders combined." Dr. Jennifer Martinez, the show's statistician, was called onto the stage to explain the mathematical significance of Evelyn's accomplishment, something that had never happened before in the show's history. "Ladies and gentlemen," Dr. Martinez announced, "the probability of achieving a perfect 200-point Fast Money score is approximately 0.003%, roughly 1 in 300,000. But when you factor in age-related variables like reaction time, cultural knowledge gaps, and the pressure of performing on television, the odds of someone Evelyn's age accomplishing this feat were calculated at essentially 0. She paused to let that sink in. "What Grandmother Evelyn just did is statistically impossible according to every model we've ever used to predict game show performance." Steve Harvey, still processing what he had witnessed, asked Evelyn the question that everyone in the studio was thinking. "Grandmother Evelyn, how did you do that? How did you know exactly what answers would be on the board?" Evelyn smiled with the quiet confidence that comes from 8 decades of life experience. "Mr. Steve, I didn't guess what answers would be on the board," she said. "I've been watching this show for 15 years and I've been paying attention. I know how people think because I've been observing people for 82 years. She paused, gathering her thoughts. Those weren't lucky guesses. Those were educated predictions based on a lifetime of watching human behavior and 15 years of studying this show's patterns. Evelyn revealed that she had been preparing for a potential Family Feud appearance for over a decade. She had kept detailed notebooks of common questions and answers, analyzed patterns in survey responses, and even studied the demographic profiles of typical survey participants. "My great-granddaughter Maya thinks I just watch TV for entertainment," Evelyn said with a chuckle. "But I've been treating Family Feud like a masterclass in human psychology and survey methodology." Steve Harvey stared at her in amazement. "You've been studying this show like a college course. Mr. Steve, when you get to be my age, you realize that every experience is a learning opportunity. I may move slower than I used to, but my mind is as sharp as it's ever been. Maybe sharper, because I've had more time to observe patterns." Evelyn's family was simultaneously proud and shocked by her revelation. Her granddaughter Sophia admitted that they had all underestimated their matriarch. "We knew Grandma Evelyn was smart," Sophia said through tears of joy, "but we had no idea she had been preparing for this for years. She never said anything about studying the show." Evelyn's great-granddaughter, Maya, was particularly amazed. "Grandma Evelyn always sits in her chair with her notebook during Family Feud, but I thought she was just keeping track of scores. I never realized she was building a database of human behavior patterns." The Family Feud production team was so impressed by Evelyn's achievement that they made an unprecedented decision. They invited her to return as a special consultant to help them understand how contestants can prepare more effectively for the show. "In 47 years, we've never had a contestant demonstrate such a sophisticated understanding of our format," said the show's executive producer. Grandmother Evelyn turned game show participation into an art form. Evelyn's approach was so methodical and successful that the show's producers asked her to write a guide for future contestants about strategic preparation for Family Feud. Word of Evelyn's achievement spread beyond the game show world into academic circles. Dr. Robert Chin from the University of Georgia's Psychology Department contacted Evelyn to request an interview about her methodology. "Mrs. Mitchell has demonstrated that age-related assumptions about cognitive performance and reaction time may be fundamentally flawed," Dr. Chin explained. "Her success suggests that experience and pattern recognition can more than compensate for any age-related changes in processing speed." Evelyn's strategy became a case study in several university courses about aging, cognitive psychology, and pattern recognition. Evelyn's perfect Fast Money score became a viral sensation, but not just because of the statistical rarity of her achievement. Her story resonated with millions of older viewers who felt that society often underestimates their capabilities. Grandmother Evelyn proved that wisdom beats speed every time, wrote one viral social media post. She didn't just win a game show. She challenged every stereotype about aging and ability. The hashtag #EvelynWisdom began trending as people shared stories about older family members who had been underestimated because of their age. 2 weeks after her historic appearance, Evelyn returned to Family Feud for a special interview segment where she shared more details about her preparation strategy. People assume that because I'm 82, I don't understand modern culture or fast-paced entertainment, Evelyn told Steve. But I've been alive for 82 years, which means I've had 82 years to observe human nature. Young people know what's trendy today. I know what's consistently true about people across decades. She explained that her answers were based on timeless human behaviors rather than contemporary trends. Traffic, police officers, junk drawers, sleepless nights, long lines at banks. These are universal human experiences that haven't changed much in my lifetime. I chose answers based on what people have always done, not what they're doing this week. Evelyn's achievement became a powerful teaching moment about the value of experience and the danger of age-based assumptions. Her story was shared in schools, senior centers, and corporate training programs as an example of how different types of intelligence can lead to success. Grandmother Evelyn taught us that there are many different ways to be smart, noted Dr. Patricia Williams, a gerontologist who studied Evelyn's case. Speed and contemporary knowledge are just 2 forms of intelligence. Pattern recognition, life experience, and analytical thinking are equally valuable. Evelyn's perfect fast money score transformed how her family viewed aging and capability. Her great-granddaughter Maya changed her major from business to gerontology, inspired by her grandmother's demonstration of the continued potential of older adults. Grandma Evelyn showed me that getting older doesn't mean getting less capable, Maya explained. It means getting differently capable. Her mind works in ways that mine can't yet, because she's had 8 decades to develop her pattern recognition skills. Evelyn Mitchell's impossible achievement continues to inspire people around the world. Her story is shared in motivational speeches, academic papers, and family conversations about the value of respecting and learning from older generations. The walking cane she used during her historic appearance is now displayed in the Family Feud studio as a symbol of the wisdom and capability that can come with age. Evelyn Mitchell remains the oldest person to achieve a perfect fast money score, and statisticians believe her record may never be broken. Her combination of age, preparation, and performance created a unique moment in television history. More importantly, her achievement changed how game show producers, contestants, and viewers think about age and ability. She proved that assumptions about cognitive decline and reduced capability are often based on prejudice rather than reality. Evelyn Mitchell's perfect fast money score proves that impossible is often just another word for unexpected. Her achievement wasn't the result of luck or accident. It was the product of decades of observation, years of preparation, and a lifetime of learning. Steve Harvey's decision to stop and fully acknowledge the magnitude of her accomplishment showed that recognizing extraordinary achievement requires understanding the context that makes it extraordinary. The 2 minutes of Evelyn's fast money round became a masterclass in preparation, pattern recognition, and the power of experience. Her calm confidence at the podium reflected not just game show strategy, but 8 decades of life wisdom applied to a moment of opportunity. Today, 82-year-old Evelyn Mitchell continues to watch Family Feud every day, still taking notes and still learning. Her perfect score didn't end her interest in the show. It deepened her appreciation for the complexity of human behavior and survey methodology. Her achievement reminds us that capability doesn't diminish with age. It transforms. The reflexes might slow down, but the pattern recognition improves. The cultural references might change, but the understanding of human nature deepens. Evelyn didn't just accomplish the impossible on Family Feud. She redefined what possible means when experience meets opportunity and preparation meets wisdom.